Welcome to NetLabs Hub. Welcome again to NetLabs Hub. Today, I'm going to carry out this project, Enterprise Hospital Network, whereby I'm going to couple SD-WAN, IPSec VPN, VLANs, Inter-VLAN routing, OSPF, to ensure that this project is accomplished. At the end of this video, we are going to understand how a secure enterprise hospital network is designed, configured, and implemented. In this tutorial here, let me just explain the topology for you. This is the headquarters. This is a company having a hospital with the head office at United States, then some branches in Kenya. So that in this scenario here, I have two FortiGate firewalls, one at the head office, one at the branch. This one is connected to a layer 3 switch, and this layer 3 switch is now hooked to different departments. You can see VLAN 10 is on administration, then VLAN 20 finance, then VLAN 30 ICU. Each VLAN is on its separate subnet. On the branch side, we have one FortiGate firewall connected to a layer 3 switch, also further hooked to two VLANs, so that we've got VLAN 40 here, then VLAN 50, so that VLAN 40 is branch A hospital of its own, then VLAN 50 is branch B, a sub-branch, a hospital of its own. Also, it's operating on its own subnet. So, this is how I'm going to carry out this project. I'm going to configure inter-VLAN routing. I'm going first of all to create VLANs on this switch, so that inter-VLAN routing is carried out by this layer 3 switch. I do not want to overwhelm my FortiGate firewall here, because by default I will be forced to create firewall policies on this FortiGate firewall to ensure that multiple traffic from among the VLANs is able to reach or to be routed to respective destination through the FortiGate firewall. And in that scenario, the FortiGate firewall by default will have to disable or block that. And if at all I have to achieve it, I have to create firewall policies, and you can see it will be an array of firewall policies, in that this one communicates with this, vice versa. So I'm avoiding that by just letting VLANs and inter-VLAN routing to be tasked by this particular layer 3 switch, so that the only interface, this port 3, will only be responsible by routing traffic through the OSPF, so that between the firewall and this switch, I'm going to configure OSPF. IP addressing on this particular nodes on every department is going to be addressed through DHCP server, so that this layer 3 switch is also going to serve as a DHCP server. The headquarters having salient or critical services being shared by the branch here, I'm going to configure software-defined wide area network failover, that is SD-WAN failover, so that by any chance there is no downtime at the head office, so that this is the first ISP, Comcast, then the second ISP, Starlink. So the headquarters is served with the two ISPs, Comcast and Starlink. Then also, I'm going to ensure you can see here there is finance department, then administration, very critical departments on this enterprise hospital network. In that, when traffic moves from the head office to the branch or from the branch to the head office, the internet service providers here, the Starlink and Safaricom, need not to understand or to know what type of traffic is being routed or is moving from two sides. So to secure that, I'm going to create an IPSec VPN between the head office and the branch, so that when a node in this particular department conducts another node in the branch, the traffic will be securely transmitted or routed through the tunnel here. It will not go through the ISPs here. So that is the overview of this particular project. So on this, I have already configured VLAN 10, created a DHCP server for that VLAN. You can see here, this is the switch. You see, this is VLAN 10, then the name of the VLAN. After that, I assign switch ports to that VLAN. Then the mode in which the switch ports are working is access mode. After that, and then I brought up the interface for VLAN 10. Then I assign the IP address. As you can see, this is the first IP address from this subnet. Then after that, I created the DHCP pool so that these computers can get IP address automatic. You can see IP DHCP, it was able to get this particular address. So I'm going to do the same on this. Once done on this side, I will also move to the other side. So this is E1, E10, that is VLAN 20. VLAN 20, the name of VLAN, that is finance. After there, interface, range, Ethernet, 10 up to 1, switch port, mode access, switch port access VLAN 20. So after there, exit. Let me just make it a little bit bigger for you to see. So after here, I'm going to create IP DHCP pool for finance, then default router, that is 192.168.12.1, then the network 192.168.12.0.255. After that, DNS is for Google. Then exit. Then I exclude the IP addresses that will be reserved. So the first IP address is used, then up to 100. Once you do that, service DHCP. So this command informs the switch to act as a DHCP server. So once you are done, then we move to this department, E1, E3, that is VLAN 30, VLAN 30, name, ICU, HQ, then interface, range, E1 2 to 3. Switch port access VLAN 30. Once you are done, IP DHCP exclude. I'm excluding the IP addresses that from this subnet, that is 1 up to 1300. So then IP DHCP pool. Steps to create DHCP server is that you create the pool. That is, once you create the pool, you define the default gateway through the DHCP client will use to locate the server. Once you define the DHCP default gateway, then you define the network. You specify the network, that is the subnet through clients will use. So once you are done that, then we save our configuration, write memory, show IP DHCP pool. You can see the pools. This is for finance. Then you can see admin here. After admin, you can see ICU here. You see? So I have successfully created the VLANs, created DHCP pools, then assigned switch ports or interfaces to respective clients on respective VLANs. So when I say show, when I type show VLAN, you can see I have VLAN 10, this one, administration, it's active on those interfaces, VLAN 20 active on those interfaces, then VLAN 30. Show running config, it is used to show the configuration that we've done on this switch. You can see these are the IP addresses that I have excluded. I have excluded the first 100 IP from every subnet, and these are the DHCP pools. So once I have done this, I'm going to create the OSPF. I can just bring this one up. So this E3/3, it is going to be the trunk port. Let me configure trunk. Interface, Ethernet 3/3, switch port, trunk encapsulation. We've got these two types, three types. Then we've got the auto negotiation or ICL or .1Q. So I'm going to use .1Q, that is 802.1Q. So just do that. Once you do that, you specify switch mode, trunk. We describe our interfaces, trunk port for HQ VLANs. No shutdown. Remember, all switch ports of our switch are up or on by default. So once you do that, we can do write. So I have configured the trunk. So switch port, trunk allowed. You see, VLAN 10, 20, 30. So that all these VLANs, I want to force them to make sure that they pass traffic through that particular trunk port. So once you are done that, you write. So I'm done. Show IP interface brief. You can see this one, it is unassigned. I have not given it an IP address. So You see this one, I have assigned the IP address here. This is the interface VLAN for this VLAN 10. So the same I will do on VLAN 20 IP, the first IP address from that VLAN, then VLAN 30, no shutdown, IP address, interface VLAN 30, IP address 192.168.13.1.255.255.255.0, description VLAN 30, then show IP DHCP statistics or binding. You can see this one is for this computer here because I enabled what we call, I made this computer to be DHCP client. So still on the router, because this one I don't want this switch to operate as like 2960 switch. I'm going to enable routing so that this switch can help me to do the route. So once I'm done with that, I can now configure the OSPF router OSPF 10, then network. I start advertising the networks. I start with 11, 00, 255 area 0, then network, so that is 13. Then once this one is 30. So I'll just repeat the same then. If you want to confirm, show IP OSPF protocol. You see, show IP route. You see, OSPF is this one. You can see this one. I have connected them. Let me enable DHCP on VLAN 20. Show VLANs. So you see, this is the IP that I have assigned on that VLAN. So once I'm done this way, I'm moving on this particular FortiGate firewall, so that on this firewall I'm going to assign interfaces. To assign IP addresses on the interfaces, then create SD-WAN here, then configure IPSec. First of all, I will access the firewall. Always know which interface connects to which location. It is important. For example, here, port 1 is connected to Starlink, then port 2 is connected to ComFast. These two ports are going to get IP address automatic from the ISPs. Then port 3 is going to be assigned an IP static from this subnet. Then port 4 is used for management. This port here, it's for management. So this one, so admin, then we set the password. Once we set the password, config system global, we set the host name USA HQ. So config system interface, edit port 1, set mode DHCP, set alias, this is Starlink, then set the role of the port is a 1 port, set allow HTTP, then ping. Next, we move to port 2, edit port 2, set mode DHCP, set role 1, set alias, that is Comcast, then set allow access so that our port is able to ping. So once we are done, we move to port 3, edit port 3, set allow access ping, that is enough, set mode static, then set IP 192.168.40.24, then set role, that is LAN. We are done on that interface. We move to the management port 4, set alias management, set mode DHCP, then set allow access HTTP, HTTPS, FGM, telnet, ping, then we allow everything. Once we are done that, we are good to go. When I say show, you will see it will show you port per port. This is port 2, you can see this is port 1. So if you want to know if those ports that I have allowed to get IP address automatic, you use the Aconize IP address list, then it will show you the IP addresses here. You can see this is port 1. This is the link that is connected to Starlink. It has this IP. You can just copy the IP and then just paste it here. You return on the firewall. Then this is port 2, this is Comcast, this is Comcast, so you just paste it there. These IPs are very important, they will help somewhere. So then you realize this is for port 3, the LAN, then this one, this is the management IP. So you just take the IP address, then you paste here on the browser. We access our firewall in the browser. So that's simple that way. So once we access the firewall in the browser, and then we can proceed on in the browser. You can see, first of all, you just check the interfaces. This is the Comcast. You see, it has gotten this IP. Then this is port 3. You can say it LAN. There is no DHCP server on that because the port is connected to a switch, and that switch is having multiple departments. So from here, I'm going to configure the SD-WAN. I'm going to configure the SD-WAN so that when this link goes down, this one will make the headquarter resources to be up still. Same applies to this one when it goes down. So after there, I'll create the IP's VPN tunnel so that once I'm done with this side, I must be able to ping across. So let me start with the SD-WAN, software defined WAN. This is one of the trends that help to manage or put proper utilization of wide area networks. That is the manage the ISP links. So the first thing, you'll go to the network here, then come to the SD-WAN. The first thing, I'm not going to use this. This is the default zone. So I'm going to create my zone. You create the zone so that once you create a zone, it's like a container. Then you put into that container the members. The members, this refers just to individual links. In my case is the Comfast and this link, Starlink and the Comcast. Those are the members in this scenario. So I just don't want. You can start by creating members. There is no big deal. Starlink, that is port 1. Then the gateway, it is dynamic. Leave everything the way it is. Then okay. Then another member, Comcast. Then leave the way it is. You can specify or leave the way it is. There is no big deal. This is 53. You can just say so. Then we create the zone. The zone will just SD-WAN. Then we add members here. We add all our links. So once you are done, we can just check. You see, already traffic is trying to pass. So I'll just edit this port so that this is 52. As you can see here on the firewall, the ports here, I have 52. That is the first port 1. That is the Starlink, then 53, then the Comcast. So you can see here Starlink is 52, then Comcast is that one. So I have created the zone and also managed to create the members and join the members into the zone. So once I do this, I'm going to create now a performance service level agreement, so that I'm going to create a rule in that when this rule will now determine which link will be up when one is down. So this is the SD-WAN rule. So in this scenario, you just come here, then create a rule. So this rule is, I'm going to access internet, So on this internet, I'm going to use ping, then specify the server, that is the Google DNS. So once you are done that, then you specify your members here. These are the members. Then Comcast. Once you do, you enable this SLA target, that is service level agreement. We can leave everything by default. Packet loss, we can give it 1%, so that once one ISP is down, then the other one will just lose 1% of the packets, then it will resume. So once you do that, you see, this is how you create a rule. Then okay, you see my rule, this is the rule. Okay, so once you do this, now you create an SD-WAN rule, an SD-WAN policy that will enable this rule to work. Access internet or failover, no problem, failover, because the source address, the source all, then destination address all. Once you do this, this is any, then here you will choose manual, because I want these two links, Comcast and Starlink, to negotiate. When one is down, the other one should pick and route traffic. Interface preference, I prefer Comcast first as my primary link, then Starlink. You see, in that order. So once you are done that, then you choose your zone. You see, you choose your zone that way, because I do not have a user group here. So you see, status is enabled. It's okay. So once you do this, you just come here, then create a static route, so that my static route is going through the SD-WAN. So in this scenario, just pick the SD-WAN, then you are done. Also, same applies to firewall policy here. Just now, this is access to the internet now. LAN to internet. Incoming interface, port 3, then outgoing. I'm not going to choose any of the two ISPs, neither Comcast or Starlink. I'm going to choose the SD-WAN zone. Then the source, everything is all. Then service is all. Once you do that, all sessions, then okay. So you see, so once you are done this, you will come on the network, then configure OSPF. This one will remain. Then area 0. I'm not going to use any authentication. You see, once you create that, you create the networks. You pick your area. Then first network is this one. You add. You add those networks. Then you pick your interface. Interface, you can just say OSPF int, then IP, you just leave everything the way it is. Interface is this one. So once you pick the interfaces, it will give you the IP address automatic. There is no summary address. Redistribute static. Once you do that, okay, you apply. So you can see I have created the OSPF. So that is it. Let me now try to ping the internet. Execute ping 888. You see, it's pinging. It's pinging. So once you are done, The next thing, I'm going to configure the IPSec VPN. The IPSec VPN. So I'm done configuring the SD-WAN. I'm done configuring the SD-WAN so that when this link fails, this one comes up. The next thing is to configure the VPN so that you'll come on VPN, then create a new tunnel. HQ2 branch, then you'll just pick site to site, then no NAT between sites, then the FortiGate. Remote IP. So you see, in this scenario here, you should also get to know the remote IP. Quick fast, let's get to know the remote IP. Config system interface, edit port 4, set mode DHCP, set allow, so once done that, edit port, port 1, set mode DHCP, set allow ping, set role 1. That is it. Once we do that, then diagonalize IP address list. So you can see it has gotten 122.159. So this is the remote IP. This is the IP for this particular FortiGate at the branch. So remote IP is that one. Once you do that, it is going through the Starlink. You see, my SD-WAN is passing traffic. So once we do that, we set the pre-shared key. This is very important. Then next, local interface, we pick the LAN. Then remote, we pick this one. So this one we will give it 30, no problem. So that is it. Next, we create our VPN. So it is already created. So the moment I will create the other side, this one automatically it will be up. So the next thing, from here, I think we are together. I have done everything here. Created the VLANs, assigned switch ports, created the DHCP pools, configured OSPF, configured software-defined WAN failover and load balancing between Comcast and Starlink, so that to ensure that my head office is always up, because remember, majority of most of the services are hosted at the head office. So the head office should have less or no downtimes. So the next thing, I'm configuring this side. Already on this side, I have configured the ISP port for Safaricom, then also the management port, port 4. So the remaining port is this particular port 2. So that way, config system interface edit port 2, set role LAN, set alias Kenya LAN, then set mode static, set IP 192.168.30.124. that is, it's done already. So set allow ping SSH, that's enough. So I have configured the interface already. So from here, maybe I'll just end and set the host name. Set host name Kenya. So if we want to check the IP address, we use that. My management interface port 4 has received this IP, so we can go to that firewall. Before we go to this firewall, always ensure to extend your idle time on the firewall to avoid being locked out. So you will come on the settings. On the settings here, we will set 480 to ensure that at least we extend it. So this is the HQ. Then I'm doing the same on the branch. So once we access the firewall, first of all, we will extend our idle time. For 80. Once we are done on that, the first thing, I'll configure the SD-WAN. This side I'm not going to configure SD-WAN because you can see here, this is the branch. The SD-WAN is only possible suitable for head office, in that the head office is fed by 2 ISPs, in that when one fails, the other one automatically comes up through the power of this failover. But this side, I'm going to configure VPN, OSPF, and Inter-VLAN routing on this layer 3 switch. Then the trunk port, then I'm done. So let me configure the VPN. First of all, let's note our remote IP. This is the remote IP. We can copy it. So IPSec tunnels we create. Remember the pre-shared key that you used at the head office. Failure to remember that, your tunnel will not be up even though you finish configuring it. Second, remember the subsequent or respective local area network subnets and also the remote FortiGate IP. So this is Kenya to USA HQ. The template, remember this is a site-to-site VPN. Then there is no NAT between the sites. Then both remote and this are just FortiGate firewalls. Next, here you specify the remote IP 192.168.122.52, if at all I'm not wrong. Then this is port 1. Port 1 is this one, huh? Port 1 is this one. So once we are done that, we specify the pre-shared key that we used. It was Fortinet. That is it. With this one is what is used to authenticate users to use the tunnel. So once you are done that, you specify the LAN, then remote, you will just type once you are done that, next you create the tunnels. If you want to know that your tunnel is up, give it time. You see, Kenya, USA, that tunnel is up. You can see here, this is the good news about IPSec. When you do everything right, the steps is that you specify the remote IPs, specify the local subnets, then create phase 1, then phase 2, then select the phase selectors, then you are done. So in this scenario, when I come to this particular headquarter firewall, then go to the VPN, you will notice that my tunnel is up. Just a minute. So sometimes these are phase 1, then phase 2. When you see phase 1 is up, you can just manually bring the phase 2 selector up by selecting that, then phase 2. Once you do that, you see the tunnel is up. Now traffic will move from any LAN, any VLAN connected on this switch through this tunnel, not through the Starlink or not through the ISPs here. So for example, when I access this FortiGate firewall for HQ, then execute ping 192.168.30.1. Execute ping . So the tunnel is up here. You can see this is peer. So on this, when we refresh, notice something. My tunnels, the tunnel is also up here. So we can now send the traffic. You will see incoming data or outgoing data. There is no data at the moment. Okay. So from here, the next thing, I'm going to configure the OSPF network. OSPF and RIP, either of the two, but due to convergence, OSPF will have precedence. That is router ID, and then the area 0, just as we did. So this is router ID, then the area, then the network 192.168.30. Then we select our area. We can add the network here. We select the interface here. So when we try to ping Cloudflare, you see it, we are pinging. So I'm done on this. So what I will do, I'll create the static route. First of all, let me check the static route. You see, this is for the VPN. The VPN has automatically created the static route. You see? So I'll create for the internet. Kenya to internet. So incoming is my port 2, then outgoing is this one. Outgoing is that one, because that rule is already created. Then everything is all. Same applies here. You see, already created this rule. So after doing this, I have finished creating the IPSec tunnel VPN is up, so the remaining thing is just to create VLANs here. Then config VLAN 40, name branch A, then int range, then Ethernet 0/0 up to 1, switch port access VLAN 40, VLAN 50, name branch B, int range, Ethernet 1 up to 2, switch port access VLAN 50. Once we are done, then interface VLAN 40, IP address 172.1.255.255.255.255.0, no shutdown. Once we do that, then int VLAN 50, IP address 172.30.19.1, 255.255.255.0, no shutdown. Once we do that, we configure the IP DHCP pool, VLAN 40, default 172.30.20.1, then network 172.30.20.0, DNS, exit, IP DHCP exclude 172.30.20.1, 172.30.20, then 100. We repeat the same. This is 19.1, 172.30.19, 100. Then IP DHCP for branch B, default 172.30.19.1, then the network 172.30.19.0, 255.255.255.0, DNS, exit, then IP routing, service DHCP, then enter. We copy and write. So I have configured VLANs. You can see show VLAN. These are the VLANs 40 and 50. They are up. Show interface VLAN 40. You see it is having the IP address here. That is it. When we enable this computer, and then so once you've done this, show IP DHCP pool. You see the pools here. DHCP D. You see it has gotten the IP address, automatic. Ping 888. So it is saying destination unreachable. What we can do away with OSPF, then use a simple routing, dynamic routing. So in this case, we can just come here, then delete. So this is how you can, let me remove this. Then give it a try. You see, it has received an IP. So the moment it has received an IP, we try to ping. The problem is that the trunk port here is not configured, but not worry. 172.30.19. You see, this VLAN is able to communicate with this one. Let's also try to confirm this. It's saying it can't get the IP address. This is VLAN 20. Show interface VLAN 20. You see it has this IP. Int VLAN 20. No shutdown. Int VLAN 30. No shutdown. So you realize that interface was not up. The VLAN interface was down. Now it's up. Same applies to that. Then we do right. Then we try again. You see it has received IP. The interface was down. So that is how you troubleshoot the DHCP. ping 192.168.40. So it's saying so. First of all, we need to be sure that Inter-VLAN routing is working. This one will also get the IP address automatic. You see it is showing DORA, meaning it's able to. We can ping 192.168. Let me just enlarge it a bit. Ping 11.101. You see, it's pinging comfortably. So I'm using a layer 3 switch to do the routing functionality for a router. In that, the traffic originating from VLANs here is just being handled by this particular switch without going direct to the firewall. So the firewall is only dealing with this interface here. So if this one intends to communicate with this one, it will send the traffic to the switch, then the switch will decide where to send. But if it has to go outside the internet, it will use this particular port here. You see, this is our main port and this is the trunk port. So when you just come here also, we configure that as a trunk port. Int Ethernet 3 switch port mod trunk. You see, it is refusing because it is in auto negotiation. When it is in auto negotiation mode, it is alternating between ISL and 802.1q. So to force this particular interface to function in 802.1q, we just say switch port trunk encapsulation dot 1q, then switch port mod trunk, then after there switch port trunk allowed VLAN 30, VLAN now 40, then 50, then do write. You see, so once you do that, let's ping 192.168.30.0.1. So we just come here, then check the interfaces. You see, the tunnel is up. So this is what we call enterprise hospital network. It has been built using SD-WAN, this section at the head office, then IPSec to securely provide a tunnel for this data from the head office to move to the branch and vice versa. You see, finance is here and administration is here dealing with critical records, so that such information is securely transmitted through the tunnel. There is VLANs here and inter-VLAN routing using layer 3. So these are the skills, or these are the skills that I have used to configure this particular project. Thank you so much. Feel free to subscribe to NetLabs Hub for more videos. Thank you.